Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Well, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 175 for Slamfire Radio for October 7th, 2016. I'm one of your hosts, Kelly Lynn.
And I'm Adriel Michaud.
And I'm Matthew McClatchy, and Trevor is on a trip. That's the right way of saying that, right? He's on a trip?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. We hope you feel better, Trevor, from your trip.
Right. Matthew, what did you do in guns this week?
Nothing.
Really?
Nope. It was beautiful flying weather all week. I have been logging time like it's nobody's business.
You've been posting some great pictures and that, too.
The leaves this year are fantastic. They look great from the air.
Awesome.
Yeah. But, unfortunately that meant I have not done anything gun-related. I'm planning on picking up my bird license this weekend and hitting the woods because the weather's supposed to crap out for flying, so it'll be great for birding, though, so I'm going to go after some birds and get some hunting in this weekend, so that'll be fun.
Isn't the hurricane supposed to hit, like, Saturday and Sunday?
It's going to miss us. They adjusted the track. They canceled the storm is what they did. They just canceled it. They're like, no thanks. It's Thanksgiving weekend. You're just going to have to come back another time. I like it that it's named Matthew, though. It's Hurricane Matthew, and it, just like me, leaves a wake of destruction everywhere it goes.
That's true, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay.
So it's the first time I've had a storm named after me, and it's doing me proud. So anyway, I should hopefully have some hunting stories for next week. So I guess Adriel, that leads into you. What did you do this week?
Let's see. So I was on Reddit, and there was a lot of guys, people just asking, like, where do I get the cheapest 9mm ammo? Where do I get the cheapest 223, that kind of thing. And about a year ago, I kind of made a spreadsheet with just the cheapest blaster ammo you can possibly get, right? 9mm, 223, 308, 762 by 39, 762 by 54, and I think 762 by 25? 25? 22? 25.
I think that's the pistol ammo, right? The Tokarev stuff? Yeah, I think it's 25.
Yeah.
I think it's 25.
Yeah, just the absolute cheapest stuff, because, a lot of people... I hear of a lot of people buying ammo and then telling me about the price on it, and I was like, holy, like, where are you buying this super expensive stuff? That's because they just don't know the going rate, right?
Yeah.
So I made a spreadsheet with all the cheapest stuff across Canada, and I re-updated it. So I'll throw that into the show notes. It's just like a Google spreadsheet. Anyone can access it with the link, and there's a whole pile of cheap ammo on that thing. So
cool.
That's cool. People will appreciate that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, if you're looking at reloading for 9mm or 223, take a look at that first, because you may not want to reload if you know what the cheapest ammo out there costs, especially if you're just blasting stuff off at the range, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. I took a whole bunch of pictures of that MKA 1919. I threw those up on Facebook, and I'll throw them into a review once I've got that done. Same thing for the Tika T3 Lite.
Those pictures look really nice. You did a good job on those.
I'm doing something a little bit different. So usually I put them on a rest or something like that. Now I've got fishing line from the ceiling that's going down, and I'm putting the rifles or the shotguns or whatever through the fishing line. So
that's awesome. I love it.
If you look real close, you can see it, but I'm not really good at Photoshop, but I don't really care. So fishing line it is. I'm just going to leave it in until I get better at Photoshop.
Nice. There's a really simple cloning tool I can teach you how to use that will mask that out really quick. Super, super fast. Anyway, this isn't a Photoshop show, so I guess we'll move on to more gun stuff. My bad. Sorry.
No, I'll learn it. It's time. I'm trying to learn video editing and get better at that first. Let's see here. I made a whole bunch of 9mm ammo. I made about 1,000 rounds on Sunday. Yeah, about 1,000 rounds on Sunday. and I ran out of bullets, so I just picked up, actually just before the show today, I went to P&D and I picked up 2,000 projectiles for that. I bought a new range bag, so I've been using a golf bag, actually. It's got like a little pocket on the bottom for like golf shoes and that kind of thing. I've been using it for holsters and that kind of thing.
I've got a Good Life gym bag. That's what I use, so you're ahead of me.
Well, it's not even a range bag. What is this thing here? Built Tough? Tough Built. It's just what's that? Princess Auto. It's a Princess Auto tool bag, but it's got stiff sides on it, and it's got that wire in there, so you can open and close it, and it's got a really big mouth on top. So for me, I don't really like a whole bunch of compartments. I want one big compartment to just kind of like throw everything into at the end of the day, and that's this bag to a T. So
nice.
I'm just kind of like setting it all up. There's no like crumbs and stuff in the bottom like in my other bag, so I get to put all that stuff in there. And then just last night, actually, I made a bunch of shooting boxes with a buddy of mine. So you know those wood squares that you put on the ground when you're going to do IPSC or something like that to show like start in the box or shoot from the box or something like that?
Yep. Did you know that in IPSC those aren't allowed anymore? So good job making a whole bunch of those.
Really? Since when?
Here in New Brunswick, anyway, they say they're a tripping hazard, and so they're no longer permitted for starting in a box.
Well, they are, but like spray painting the ground wears off. I had so many.
It certainly does. Yeah, no spray paint. The boxes work great. It's just they say that you can trip over them, so they don't want them in the matches anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people running like real cheap hula hoops from the dollar store.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Never even considered that. That's a great idea.
They're less of a tripping hazard, I guess, than the wood ones. And
if you want to get your groove on, you can just be like hula hooping away as you're shooting. I mean, that should be a stage. I think Trevor would actually like to do that. He'd be good at it, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I find with the spray paint, so we normally use like marking paint that we spray onto the ground. People don't look at the frickin' boxes. They don't they see the paint and they promptly step all over it and they don't shoot within the box properly. Whereas these wood squares are way easier to see, and it's easier, like there's some tactile to the wood, right? You'll know when you're at the edge because you'll trip on it.
Hence the reason why they're not allowed.
Could be.
I guess.
Just a guess.
Everywhere else uses the stick boxes though, so I mean, it's kind of like the one of the standards. So I mean, yeah, we made a bunch of those. We made 4 1 meter square ones, and then 2 with whatever scrap we had left. So I think they're about 2 foot by 2 foot, something like that. That's no trigger pulling, but a bunch of stuff that is kind of to do with guns, I guess. What about you, Kelly?
I was working so the Gunny Girl calendar that you guys were making fun of last week. Remember?
No,
Did you guys
not
submit
at all.
anything yet?
Yes.
All right.
No.
So we just want to remind everybody that the deadline for that one is October the 14th. Adriel, you're going to put the link in the show notes for this, right? It's for the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights. Gunny Girl.
Yeah, how do I attach a picture to this thing, though? Because I need to take a picture of me in a nice thong or something.
Actually,
no, you
send
don't.
it to the email.
No, you don't.
And then I will take it, and I will put it all over social media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
okay.
So don't do that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, unless you want it all over social media, then that's fine. On Sunday, I went to the Belleville Gun Club. I got up nice and early and went out, and they were having a hunting and fishing show. So I worked the table for the CCFR as well. So I was getting out, shaking hands, kissing babies, you know how it goes.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and looking at all the nice firearms that were across the hall for me. So it was nice.
Cool.
Yeah, and then went promptly to the range after that was all done, and took the 10-22s, did some flinking, shot the pumpkin. That is part of the Squirrels Challenge this month. Did horribly. I really need to clean my rifle. That was it. That's all I've done with guns this week. So yeah. So upcoming events, we have Brian S. He wanted to let us know that Brian S. is from Valkyrie Defense and he was having the Counter Ambush Concepts course in Battle Creek, Michigan this weekend, and it is canceled due to lack of participation.
Huh.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. Oh well. So for Latchi handgun courses on July 15th and 16th in Alberta, do you guys know where it's going to be in Alberta yet?
Probably somewhere close to Adriel. Yeah, I don't think we have an official spot yet.
Nope.
I don't think anything's nailed down, but yeah, it'll be in the Edmonton area.
So, and it says that the basic handgun has 3 spots left, and the critical handgun is full. Is that still correct?
As far as I know, yes.
And we're taking names, right?
We're taking names and handing out bubblegum. Wait, how does that go?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Name? I don't know.
I don't know. Carry on.
All right, and then the CAPS course with Dave Young, that one is canceled as well due to lack of participation. Come on, guys, sign up for these things. So, anyways, Ragnarok Tactical. How did I do with Ragnarok? Was that good?
Pretty good.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, they're doing the carbine operator course at the Guelph Rod and Gun Club, and it's going to be October the 15th. Course fee is $176.99. So why don't you contact Andrew at, do we have a link for that as well, guys? We do? Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
In one of the show notes from either last week before.
I'm sure you could just Google it, the carbine operator course at Guelph Rod and Gun Club. I bet you it'd come right up.
I'm sure it would.
So,
and then we also are supporting the Woodstock Range there. They're doing a fundraiser. The draw is on October 15th. Tickets are $10 a piece, and you can contact the club. We have the Gmail address as well in the show notes. And then the final one is the 17th Annual Hunters Sight-In and Swap Meet. It's on October 22nd. It's going to be at the Frontenac Range here in Kingston, Ontario. So bring your surplus gear and trade and barter. So that's it for events.
Cool.
Right. Yeah. How about news? Who put in the one about the bear attack in New Brunswick?
Ironically, not somebody from New Brunswick.
Yeah, that was James Bork that had that in there. I mean, well, this is one of them, but it just seems like Bear Week this week. Did you guys see the Facebook video of that guy who just survived a bear attack and then went straight onto Facebook and put a video up on there?
That's just crazy.
Because
that's what you need to do. It's like, oh, I just got attacked by a bear. Well, if I don't put it on Facebook, it doesn't count as happening. So I've gotta put it on Facebook.
Exactly.
This one here is Jeff Lyons, 62, credits piece of wood he used to hit mother bear in the face with saving his life. A 62-year-old New Brunswick man is thankful to be alive after being attacked by a large black bear that shook him like a rag doll, says his sister. Jeff Lyons of McNamee?
Sure. Nail it. Just own it, buddy. Just own it.
Has deep teeth wounds on his upper right shoulder in the middle of his back and lacerations under his left rib cage where the skin has been all torn off by the bear's claws, said Cheryl Lyons Dudley. He says it still feels like a dream, that it's just unreal. He keeps going over it in his mind, saying, "Did this really happen?" said Lyons Dudley, who saw her brother just a few hours after he was attacked outside his remote camp in New Brandon on September 29th. Lyons was cleaning up behind the camp shortly before lunch when he caught sight of the mother bear and her cub out of the corner of his eye. He immediately turned away, but the bear was upon his back in an instant and brought him down to the ground and started mauling him. He was screaming and flailing his arms, trying to beat the bear off, but she picked him up by the back and was shaking him, she said. Lyons noticed a piece of wood on the ground, managed to grab it while the bear reared up, growling and showing her teeth. When the bear lunged at him again, he hit her across the face with the board several times, and she turned and ran into the woods.
Nice.
2x4.
Yeah.
Bear defense. You don't need no bear spray.
What caliber 2x4 do I need for bear defense?
I'll get stuck 6-footer.
Well,
I mean, that's good. I'm glad that he regained his maintained his senses and was able to counterattack. And that's what they say to do. If it's black, attack. If it's brown, lay down. Right. So it's kind of how to remember how to deal with bears. Oh, and if it's white, good night, because you're gonna die. Polar bears will kill you.
Yeah,
apparently. It's good that he fought back. That's the right thing to do with a black bear, and he survived it. So that's great. That's not the first bear encounter that's been happening in New Brunswick. There's been a couple of them. A coworker of mine was just telling me how she saw a couple while she was out fishing. The bears are out moving around. Be careful.
Yep, they are. All right, what about this one from Jason Phelp? Anybody want to talk about this one? This one is the Safari Club International Canada's efforts to help defeat C246. Why don't I take it?
Yeah, why don't you take it, Kelly? That's a great idea. Kelly, how about you take this one?
Awesome. Why don't I take it?
All right, you take it.
So this was put out today by the Safari Club, yesterday by the Safari Club. It says, today, in a victory for every Canadian who fishes, hunts, farms, or owns pets, members of all Canadian political parties voted to defeat a flawed omnibus bill brought forward by Toronto Member of Parliament Nathaniel Erskine-Smith, Bill C-246. Bill C-246 was supported by a well-funded and organized animal rights extremists, yet was soundly defeated by all mainstream Canadian MPs, who understood it was thinly disguised act to restrain and control all human activities involving animals. One MP stated in the House, the animal rights groups have deeply hidden agendas to eliminate all animals use. So basically, the bill is all about, it's flawed because of the fact that there's nothing that's very succinct, and it's all over the place. So,
I mean, it's nice to have a bill like this shot down because, like you said, it was just a way to be able to charge people with interfering with any animal, and that I'm sorry, but animals are there because they're tasty, and so we need to be able to eat them. So. Am I wrong? What?
Well, the tastiness is a side effect of being made of delicious meat.
Well, they are made of delicious meat, and we must eat these animals. And so, I'm glad this was shot down because that was just silly. So I'm glad that common sense common sense reigned, I guess, and it kind of worked out.
Did you actually have a chance to look at what the MPs voted? There was something out where it showed who voted yes and no and who didn't vote at all. It was actually quite significant, the amount of people that said no.
That's good.
Yep.
Must have been a bad bill.
Yeah, it's really poorly worded if you go in and read it. So on tonight's main topic, we have Reg Wales from Vortex Canada. He's coming on to talk with us about scopes and optics. Thanks for coming on tonight, Reg. Do you want to give us a little bit of background about yourself? I know that you're a retired soldier. You actually are also a certified firearms instructor. You did my pal and my RPAL with me.
I did.
Yeah, and you're also an author, and you are currently Vortex Optics Canada Technical Field Advisor. Can you tell us what exactly that is?
Well, basically what it's going to come down to is customers, whether it's for military, police, or whoever's going to be purchasing our optics, any questions they have for field operations, they would get in touch with me. Same for civilians, customers that purchase right from our entry line Crossfire right through to our higher end Razor optics. They have questions on field use or how to use the optic. That's where I come in and answer those questions. My background, is from the military, and I was injured overseas years ago, and then I stayed with in the shooting sports and continued my education through that. And long story short, I ended up with Vortex, and it's been a great ride so far.
Okay. We were talking, and you told us that you've opened up a new business for yourself, or maybe it's the Operational Tactical Optics program. Do you want to tell us what it is?
Yeah, it's the company's name is Precision Optics Academy Limited, and where it stemmed from is there was a need. It was brought to my attention that there is definitely a need for education in the optics side of things. And when I came on board with Vortex, and I noticed that both Canada side and U.S. side were pulling me in both sides of the border for answering questions and dealing with customers. And when we were dealing with, for instance, say law enforcement or the people that I thought knew about optics and how to use them, it turned out that they were the ones that were really in need. So Precision Optics Academy kind of grew from that need, and I developed a program. And the program is Operational Tactical Optics Program. So we refer to it as OTOP. And it takes the end user right through the basics. of the optic right through to the advanced stages. Everything from the common knowledge such as range finding to figuring out unknown bullet drop, things that you would use from a ballistics calculator. But we are able to do it just simply through looking through the reticle and doing some simplified mathematics. Also, to use it for in the field for a service provider, such as police or military, those users need to have advanced techniques. So we've developed those techniques, and that's part of the program. So this year it's the first year for it, and some of our clientele have been local for police services, and it's been doing really well. We're really proud of it.
Okay, so who's it available to? Is it available to civilians as well as the police forces and that as well? And where is it available?
Originally, it was made to be strictly for law enforcement, military, and security purposes. But as we started going down that road at the beginning of the year, we found that there was more of an interest on the civilian side. We have more civilians come to it and say, "Why can't we learn this?" And then we kind of thought, hey, why can't they learn this? We have some of the best shooters are civilians that are out there, and they compete, and they also use those techniques for hunting and other competitive sports. So we've opened the doors. It's not for everyone. It's considered to be an advanced level course. It's not your basic PAL course by any means. So when you come to see us, you do need to have the marksmanship skills available to you, because keep in mind, we are an optics company, an optics training company. So we take your marksmanship skills that you've developed, and we enhance those, and we teach you the ways that's going to make you a better shooter through your optics. Your optics is what drives the bullet. It's everything. If people would spend more attention and more money in their optics, they would notice that their performance downrange would increase. So there is some openings there for civilians, but we just kind of need to filter out right now what type of people we get on the range. If you're a civilian and you're looking to go down that road, again, when you come to us, you need to have some good qualified instructors that you've taken courses through and improved yourself.
Okay. So, which range are you doing this through, or are you?
We do it for the most part. We have our next one coming up. We have Regional Police Services, and they'll be out there with us, and we'll be on the Milken training facility in Minden, Ontario. Okay.
All right.
So,
awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about the right optics for shooting?
Sure, love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I had a question. I want to jump in here. So I've got a Vortex Spark, and I know that there's also the Strike Force, and then my buddy just went and got the Spark AR, I think is what he got. Like, can you just run us through your different red dots and what the difference is between all of them?
Sure. Actually, our AR red dots and the new AR prism scopes, they are two new items that just came from SHOT, and they're specifically designed for the AR platform. Now, they can be fit on any type of firearm, but they are calibrated for 5.56. For people that are getting into the 3-gun kind of thing, and it's become the popularity even here in Canada is increasingly getting larger. We're seeing it hugely on our side of things, and in the stores where it's hard to keep the product on the shelves. Anything that deals with AR, the black gun, we're probably going to be looking at mostly will be the AR red dots or prism scopes, or what we call our reflex sights. The biggest advantages for the AR platforms is that we've reduced the spacer for the mounts for the Spitfire. It's still going to be a prism scope, but there's some small advancements there. Better glass. There's going to be, now we have calibrated turret dials out to 700. There's many new improvements. We also have our reflex sights, such as our new Venom and our Viper. We're seeing more and more of those types of optics on those AR platforms, whether it's conventional on the flat tops or we put them on a 45-degree offset. But you're going to find that when it comes to the 3-gun guys and girls, they're going to want to marry it up with possibly one red dot, or they will go to a prism scope. Now, the biggest issue with anything that deals with red dots, whether it's going to be our older Spark or Spark AR models, is that if you have what we call astigmatism, and a large population out there do have astigmatism where you don't have that perfectly round red dot that you see nice and crisp. It's more like flaring going off on it, and so that becomes an issue. So if you are that type of person, then you may want to go and look at something like a prism scope, where you have the reticle is etched onto the glass, but you still have that illumination capability. And that's where we get into our newest scopes that we have. And for you guys out there in the 3-gun world, I would recommend right off the bat, if we're talking about service rifle, it would be a Strike Eagle 1-6 power, or we go into the Spark AR or the Spitfire AR, which is a prism scope. Very fast sight acquisition on your target, and again, very light, and they're handy. And we sell a pile of them.
I think my buddy ended up getting one of the Spark ARs, but yeah, I can definitely see. So with the prism scope, you're saying that the Strikefire AR, that one, since it's a prism, does it have like an etched reticle that works even if the light's not on, kind of a thing?
Yeah, when you have a prism scope, it's basically going to have a lot of characteristics the same as a normal conventional scope. You're going to have an eye relief of some sort, so you're going to have to set it up for the shooter. It will have a reticle that's etched permanently on the glass itself. So if your battery dies or if it craps out on you at some point, you're still going to have that aiming source. You're still going to have that reticle there. It's not going to go anywhere on you. It is a mechanical device, so it's once again, all of these have to be adjusted for zero. And the nice thing about the new AR prism scopes in the Spark AR is we've gotten away from the 2032 battery and we're going with a AAA. So one AAA. The life of the battery itself is crazy. I think we're up to like 3,000 hours on minimum power, 250 hours on max power. It has these come also with automatic shutoff.
That's the best thing I've heard so far, is that you're running AAAs, because I hate running those weird batteries in my optics. I go out of my way to buy an optic that will run a AA or a AAA, because I can get them anywhere. And I can't go and find a CR123 at your local, mom and pop store if I'm at the range and the closest shop is like, some little, but they'll have AA's and AAAs, so I can always find those somewhere. So that's great. Yeah. Good job on you for doing that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is too, the battery life. And you think about your things that you'd use in the field, such as a GPS. You get away from those little AAAs and you go to your AA's. The life of that unit is, that's what they're coming out more of. And we see that. We see that trend is that you want to have something that's handy. You can go to your local Costco, you can go to your local convenience store, pick up a set of batteries, and you're good to go. The thing is with our products is the life of the battery is lasting longer, because we also introduce automatic shut-off times. Right. So even if it's, you say a police officer has it on their carbine, he throws it back in the vehicle at the end of the shift, he turns it on, turns it off, the next shift comes on, it's still going to be good to go. It shuts off automatically. So we don't have that continuous, when you pull that firearm from the locker or from your locker and you want to go out and do a 3-gun, and in the middle of it, your battery dies. So these guys that are developing the optics in Wisconsin, they have their finger on the pulse, because they're shooters too. Like they go through the same thing that you and I go through. And the nice thing is they deal with it. So you got to keep in mind that Vortex is still a family-owned business. So it's not every day where you can give me information, feedback, and where I can go down and I could pass that on directly to the engineers, and they make it happen. So I think that's part of the success of Vortex too, is we listen to the customer, and we're seeing those improvements when the new units come out. So feedback is very important.
Okay. Right. It's hunting season, so what are you recommending for somebody who's going out with their hunting rifle? Just, distances of up to 200, 300, 400 yards.
Well, of course, I'm always going to start off with the most pricey and the highest end. but one of the things I just got the opportunity to hunt elk on one of our properties here that we have in Ontario, just very, very rare. And I actually took our 3 to 15, the new Razor LH Hunter out, and it's a phenomenal piece of equipment. If you think about what you're purchasing your firearm, even the book that I put out, it's still, it's always going to try to think 50% firearm, 50% your optics. My personal preference would be more like 60-40. And so if you think about those numbers, and if I drop and say, you're going to spend about $1,000 on an optic, and some people out there might say, kind of cringe and say, oh my goodness, $1,000. My rifle was only $800. But if, the optic is everything. It drives the firearm. It's your eyes to the target. It keeps everything. Without the optic, the firearm is nothing. So on the greater scale of things, I would be saying, yeah, in a perfect world, if you could afford it, would be our new Razor Light Hunter. It's phenomenal. The glass is premier glass. It's HE glass. But those people that can't afford that, we still have other alternatives. Going down, we have our Viper line. We have the HST, which is the hunting, shooting, and tactical line, apochromatic glass. It's giving you all the bells and whistles, right down to our crossfire. So I take the average person that would call me and give me a question. Just thinking back last week, a gentleman that called, and he had a Tikka T3 and a 30-06. And we started out at a crossfire entry level, and after our discussion went on, he settled into a Diamondback. And, you don't have to have maximum power. You don't need to have that 6 to 24, but just a general, even a 4 to 16 or a 3 to 12 will get you through quite nicely. But the most important thing I must say during this interview is not just for Vortex, so I think for all optics manufacturers, what we face is over-torquing of rings and improper mounting, where no matter what quality of scope you buy, if it's not installed properly, then you're going to have issues. So I think the biggest issue would be start thinking about the rings, start thinking about the mounting options, and then really look at your optic. Sometimes less is more, so don't go out and get the highest magnification, such as a 6 to 24. Start on the lower end and think about glass quality. That's the most important points to getting a good hunting optic.
Yeah, I think
I don't want to drop exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I talked with I think a tech from Vortex a while back, and he was saying, yeah, the thing that most people are doing is just torquing them way, way, way down too tight, and most people would do really well to get a torque wrench that they can use so that they're not, putting, what is it, like 50-inch pounds instead of 15 or 20 kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, and the thing is too, when we put out our rings, when you purchase them in the box, they come with a little piece of paper in there that does say, torqued within a certain spec. It's usually between 16 to 18 inch pounds, not foot pounds, but inch pounds. And we provide you with a little Allen key. Now the problem is they take that Allen key and we over torque them. We even tighten them up to a can't move, and that's too tight. So taking that money and spending it towards a torque screwdriver is a good investment, because it's not going to go bad on you. You can pick it up. You're not the last scope you're ever going to install, but you can use it on your whole firearm, your action screws, you name it, you can use it. But it saves a lot of grief, because you're the ones that are putting the rounds down range, and you can save yourself a lot of heartache by having that scope torqued to spec. And then when you go to put the amount of elevation or windage on, it is going to go ahead and see the proper results downrange. But for sure. The biggest issue we face is over torquing.
Okay. Some of our listeners are precision rifle gunnies as well. Do you have any recommendations for them for their rifles?
Oh, thank God you guys asked me that, because that's kind of my thing. I like to shoot the black gun a little bit and a little bit of the pistol, but my life revolves around precision shooting, and that's really where I kind of come into the Vortex line. And we've got some new stuff out this year. The biggest thing is what's going to be coming across my desk here in a few days is our new AMG. So our new optic for the line, and it's 100% made in the U.S. Your listeners that are listening to me now are most likely familiar with it. They've been on the websites, or they've been listening to the news about it through various media. And so it's new for us. It's a 30 mil tube. It has all the bells and whistles. The great thing about it, it's a fraction of the weight of our Gen 2, which is very popular even in the PRS matches. About 60% or higher now of PRS shooters are running with our Gen 2s. And so our AMG it's the hot ticket. It's the new and upcoming optic for us. Actually, Recoil Magazine, I'm just looking at it now. It's sitting on my office desk, and they did a great article on it. And so you guys out there that are listening to this, pick it up, take a look at that article. It really shows you the ins and outs of the optic. For optics and rings, we've got new bubble levels. We've gone and we've made our bubble level even smaller now, lighter. It's about a third of the size of our first bubble level that we came out. The larger bubble level is still in our SKUs. It's still out there for you guys to purchase, but we're slimming down a little bit on the bubble levels. We've got so many cool things coming out this year, coming up. Just the stuff that was released this year, it's just hard to keep up with demand. So things like the AMG are a little slow coming off for us to get them out to the dealers, just simply because they are made 100% in-house. Even the glass is precision grind in the U.S. as opposed to offshore. So, like again, for PR guys and girls out there, our warranty is always the same. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as it says Vortex on it. We've got your back. We cover our product.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about Vortex. If anything happens to it, you can ship it back and they'll replace it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your warranty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we want you to use the stuff, right? That's what it's all about. And us as shooters ourselves, we know things happen. Whether you lean the firearm up against a bench, do something foolish like that, and it falls over, there's always stuff that happens. Right. Whether it's your fault or not, we look after you.
Okay. Matthew, you don't when you with IPSC, you don't use anything on your scopes or anything on your handguns, right?
No, I know. I just run open sights, but
your open sight. Do you have anything that you can recommend for that, Reg?
Again, this year, I'm just kind of bringing up our new stuff that we've released. We have 2 new red dots, or reflex sights. One of the biggest one is our Venom. It's going to give you a 3 MOA dot. We have the Venom, and we also have the Viper. Both of those can be married up on on pistols. The great thing is about those types, we can go ahead and put them on core style pistols. So anything with cutouts, we can mount those up for you. If you visit Vortex Optics or Vortex Canada website, you can actually get whatever pistol you're running with. You'll get a little bit more information on what base plate that needs to be applied, so it will fit your pistol. But those are really hot items for us, is the reflex sights.
Okay. Either Matthew or Adriel, do you have any questions about scopes before we go on to actually what's new with coming up with Vortex?
Well, I had a question. You were talking about the torque settings. Is for somebody who doesn't have a torque wrench that will go down to that low inch pounds, is there a rule of thumb that you can use with an Allen key or something that will sort of get you close?
Yeah,
maybe if it hurts your thumb?
Yeah. Well, instead of using the long end, let's just put the long end into the screw and use the short end. And basically, once you feel it start to snug up, that's about as much as you really need it. The thing about I really stress having good quality rings, and that's one area that's kind of been not really looked at, or have gone down that road where people start thinking how important rings are. But rings are what brings the optic and the rifle together. It marries them up. And if you have good quality rings, you're going to have 100% surface bearing contact with the scope tube. So you don't need to come onto it with a large amount of force. And in today's optics, even ours, you're dealing with aluminum. So you have an aircraft aluminum tube, and you have a tube within a tube. Your erector tube assembly is what contains your reticle. It floats inside the tube of your scope. So if you have very little movement inside there, allowing that to move around, you're going to start seeing some inadequacies downrange. You're going to start noticing that, such as your parallax dial is becoming stiff. It's hard to turn. Your elevation or windage dial, when you put a click or two on, it's not responding downrange. There's all sorts of things that are happening inside there. Your scope is a very complex piece of equipment. So again, installation, that's where it starts, is getting the scope on properly, getting it adjusted properly for the shooter. But you want to be able to, when you put rounds down range and start moving your turret dials, you want to have that respond on the target. And again, over and over again, we see the same thing, is that we have customers that, they say, no, I have a torque wrench and a torque screwdriver, and I'm applying X number of pounds because my ring manufacturer that I purchased these from are saying I need 25 inch-pounds. Well, you need to go by what your scope manufacturer recommends, not the rings, because when you start applying that pressure to the scope, that's what's causing the damage. And once again, I got to stress, rings are so important, especially in the precision world.
Okay. So new and exciting this year. We talked a little bit about it before you came on, or before we started recording. SHOT Show, right? Mm-hmm. You'll have some stuff there. Can you give us general terms of what's coming out?
Well, it's going to be another great year for us. 2016, when we had SHOT, we have like I said, almost 30 some SKUs that came out for us. Everything from accessories to actual optics. This year coming out, or I should say for the following year, for SHOT Show, what I've been told is, once again, it will be another stellar year for Vortex. We're getting a lot of feedback from our customers, and once again, the engineers are taking those recommendations to heart. And I think you're going to see more of the things that we're having out for accessories. We've got the new Defender flip-up caps, the little dope cards that you can get now, the plastic dope cards that you can sit in there, and the things that really make life so much easier as a shooter. And we're starting to put that out. As for optics, I can't tell you exactly what we're putting out right now. It's a little too early to say, but again, I can tell you it's going to be an awesome year.
Cool.
Probably a bunch of scopes and red dots, right? Are you going to be at SHOT Show?
I will.
Oh, cool. I might see you there.
Yeah. Are all you guys going to be there? Or is it just yourself?
No, just the important one. Just Adrian.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not cool enough to go. Apparently, he said no.
All right. No, we will be there. We have all of our reps from across Canada will be there. Our owner, Paul Grant, he'll be attending, and yeah, like I said, it's great. I can't say enough about Vortex. It's just been a wonderful company to work for, and for me coming in this type of line of business with them, and they've nurtured me right through anything that I needed to grow in the industry. They've been there to hold my hand, so they've been just phenomenal.
Yeah, they're a great company. Just even 2 weeks ago, you were at the ladies' event in Napanee, and Vortex was a huge sponsor for that. So, as you said, great company. They're doing some sponsorship and helping out in the communities, and that they're involved in the shooting communities particularly. We even had a Vortex donate towards our podcaster charity shoot. It's all the proceeds went to Soldier On. So it was great to see them getting involved in the community in that too. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, next year, because this was the first year for that shoot in Napanee for the Ladies' Day, Vortex is committed to it for next year also, and to add to the amount of money we put towards this year, we'll add to it next year and watch it grow. The coordinators for that, they did a great job for what I can see. Lots of happy faces. We talked to many ladies that were really enjoying themselves there, so it's good. And for us men that are married, we know who's important, who we have to woo over because they hold the purse strings. So no, it's great. Ladies are actually one of the largest growing demographics in the shooting community, and it's good to see because you said you just done your POW courses and whatnot, and we're seeing more and more ladies come in. It's nothing now to have a 50-50 split from men and women, so it's fantastic.
Yep, It's true. Now, at the beginning of the interview, we said you were an author. Do you want to tell us about your book?
Sure, love to. I'm always good to pitch the book. The book is The Ultimate Optics Guide to Rifle Shooting. The biggest thing I found is I've been shooting well over 30-some years now. I started even as a young kid hunting, but I've been shooting optics for close to 30 years. And once I got into the optics side of things, right off the bat, I was just wondering, like, there's no one out here to teach you how to use the optic. You know, you learn your shooting fundamentals, whether it's from your father, your uncle, or you learn from yourself or from the military or some type of formal training. But even in those scenarios, even in the military side of things, we didn't have the knowledge base when it came to optics. So growing up, I took it upon myself to start learning about optics, start learning about, hey, how do I make a sight correction? Why does it take me 20 rounds or 30 rounds to go ahead and sight my rifle in? But this is foolishness. So at a very early age, I started to kind of figure it out, and I started to realize, wow, optics they're the key. They hold the key to performance for firearms, for accuracy. So as I got older, I started to make notes. I started my own little, note making and put things aside, and now I've decided to pull it out, because people, when I go to shows, they're asking me all sorts of questions, and I'm starting to draw from those years of experience in dealing with optics, whether it's a civilian or military or police officer that I'm speaking with. So I decided to put it in a book, because many times over they've said, you got to write this down, you got to get this out there, and I did. So what I wanted to do is come up with a format that was really easy to use. So it's just like you and I speaking here tonight. And so if you had a question, I'd sit down with you on the range, we'd talk about it, I'd draw you out a little scenario, I'd write out an equation, show you how to do it, and that's what I did in the book. I wanted it to be able to be fit in a range bag, so it's not very large. It's only 6x9. It's paperback. You can get a hard copy if you wish. I'll sign it for you. It'd devalue it. That's the only thing. People sell it on eBay. But I just crammed it full. I just crammed as much as I could with things that you can actually use. There's nothing in there about Galileo and the stars or any of that kind of stuff like that. It's all just, how do I move my reticle and my bullet to where it needs to go, my point of aim and my point of impact, how I match it up. And there's also some neat, cool things that I've figured out over the years, everything from unknown bullet drop. You'll notice on your ballistic apps, it tells you how many inches of drop you are at different ranges. Well, you can tell that just by using your reticle and using your turret dials, and everything from the size of targets. There's all sorts of cute, cool, keen things in there. This program that I've developed, the Operational Tactical Optics Program, OTOP, there's only so much you can get in a 6x9 book. So it is a guide. You have to take it as that. It's a guide, but it's crammed full of really good stuff that you can use. The optics program that I'm teaching now it's the next step up from that. It's taking what you've learned as a marksman, and then you jump into the book and you grow with the content that I put out there in the book, and then you move on. And so it is a start. It's a really good start. Just like it's got 2 reviews out right now on the Canadian side. We've got I'm looking at it right now, the Canadian Firearms Journal did a spiel on it, and the next issue of Caliber did a really great review on it. So we're really, really happy with that. So yeah, hopefully everyone runs out and buys a copy, and because
well, it's basically a requirement now. I mean, all of our listeners must now go out and buy one.
And buy one.
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely, it's a rule. Perfect. I like it. I got to come on this show more often and see what else I can sell.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if they're going out to go and buy one, where can they find it?
Well, anywhere that Vortex Optics is sold right off the bat, whether it's here in Canada or the U.S. or around the world, it's shipped out worldwide. So if you can find a store that has Vortex Optics, you're going to find the book. You can go through normal channels such as Amazon, Kobo, any of those types of things. It's in the stores. So anywhere you would download or purchase a book, it can be found there. You can even go to Vortex Canada, and you can order it directly from us, and we'll ship it to your home.
Excellent. Okay. So, do you guys got any other questions for Reg?
No, actually. He's answered quite a few of them. He's done a great job.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adrian?
No, I'm good.
All right. So, Reg, where can people contact you if they do have questions about either their optics or the course that you're running as well?
Well, you can anything that's going to deal with Vortex itself, you can contact me at reg@vortexcanada.net. I'm happy to answer any questions you have in regards to your optic. And I just love shooting in general, so I like to chat, as you can tell. It's hard to shut me up when I get going. So you can contact me there. You can also, if you are interested in looking at the Operational Tactical Optics Program, OTOP, or anything else that we have set up for optics learning, you can contact us at info@precisionopticsacademy.com. And there's several links and contact information on there.
Very much for coming on tonight. Lots of information about scopes and optics, and thank you for everything. So
Well, thanks for having me on. It was great, and I was a little nervous at the beginning, but I think I'm okay now.
Yeah, now that it's all over, you did a great job.
We're good.
Yeah, I just need to have a drink before this happens.
Sure.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on, guys, and I appreciate it. And once again, any question that you guys have in regards to Vortex Optics at any time, please feel free to give me a call.
Thanks, Reg, again for coming on, and let's get to listener feedback. Adriel, why don't you take this from Craig?
Oh, this one's really hard. From Craig. Hey guys, I'm not sure how to sight in my handguns. Could you go through the process used to sight in yours? Thanks, Craig. You don't. You just pull the trigger and it shoots what it's aiming at.
Yeah, basically. Whatever you hit is what you're aiming at, right?
So, can we? I don't know. I don't know Craig, and I don't know if he's a really accomplished pistol shooter or something like that. But if you're a new pistol shooter and you haven't really shot a lot of them, I would advise that you don't sight in your handgun and you just shoot it, because
that's some of the best advice I've heard somebody give somebody for handgun shooting. That's spot on. That is exactly what you do. Don't change the sight so that you're looking at what you're hitting. Change your stance, change your grip. Chances are your handgun is sighted in properly from the factory. Most handguns, you put the sights in the center of the rail, and that's sighted in. And now you just need to work on your form, your grip, your stance to actually hit what you're aiming at.
Yep. Don't move that rear sight way over to the right, because your shots are going low left, because that's right. Not the sights.
Nope, that's not the sights. That's you. So, I mean, we don't know that that's you. Like Adriel says, we don't know which Craig this is. We just know it's Craig. But if you are an accomplished pistol shooter, I would probably hazard a guess that you know how to sight in your handgun. So I'm going to go with Adriel and say you're probably not, and that's cool. Find an instructor. Find a local person who knows how to shoot handguns and have them go over some stuff with you and see if it's really your gun or if it's you. And if it is your gun, sometimes it is. I mean, Trevor and I have run into, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 out of the last 5 years of teaching Black Badge. So, a couple percent of the handguns actually aren't sighted in, but for the most part, they all are. And we find that the shooter needs to adjust a little bit. But it is very simple to adjust. Most handguns, you're just drifting the rear sight to the right or to the left. And for changes in elevation, if it doesn't have an adjustable rear sight for elevation changes, you swap out the front post for either a taller or a shorter post. So for the front sight, you if you're hitting high, you need a higher front sight. And if it's a rear sight, if you're hitting high, you need a lower rear sight. And that will correct that for you.
Okay.
Yeah, on the front sight, just move it to the direction that you want your bullets to go, and for the rear sight, go the opposite.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, like I said, Craig, if you're not an accomplished shooter, don't hesitate to go find somebody local who knows how to shoot and have them give you a couple pointers, because that's going to be your best bet for getting on target quickly and properly.
Okay, Matthew, why don't you take the one from Pat?
From Pat. First, thank you, as I really enjoy your podcast, as it has been extremely helpful in my getting back into shooting and hunting. Please excuse any typos, as my tablet is not fat finger friendly. I'm going to get into reloading 9mm and maybe 45 at a later date. I have a handle on the hardware and brass. Bullets, a different story. I've looked at the prices online, X-Metal and local websites out west, and find the prices vary significantly. I also looked at my local shops, and again, the prices are all over the map. X-Metal is roughly $100 per 1,000. Seems like a good deal to me by quite a bit. I've tried to compare similar products and still find quite a difference in the pricing. I would just like to know if I'm missing something. Anyway, thank you to all you folks for your hard work. 2 fat thumbs up from beautiful BC. Cheers, Pat. Well, thank you, Pat. I'm going to let Adriel talk about projectile prices because he's our resident ammunition price expert.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're buying bullets, the shipping is killer. So if you can find some place that has free shipping and you find a really good place online, that's great. If you just find cheap bullets online, but the shipping isn't there, or the shipping is paid as it costs kind of thing, it's gonna hurt. So definitely check out your local shops. Now the X Metal bullets, I believe, are a lead bullet that's coated with polymer, so it's got a plastic coating on the outside, and that's what it uses to keep the lead off your fingers. I mean, lead bullets will be the cheapest out there, but uncoated lead bullets are kind of a pain in the butt to reload because you end up getting lead everywhere. They're a little bit grimier to load, and they let up in your barrel a little bit more than a lot more than anything else. A straight up full metal jacket will be a fully jacketed bullet that's started with a jacket and they swedge lead in. Those ones are dimensionally usually really good, but they're the most expensive kind of projectile that you can get for your pistol. The total metal coating that a lot of people will put on starts with a lead bullet, and then they put it in a process that plates the copper on. Those are pretty good. The dimensionality on those vary a little bit more, so that would be like your Campros and that kind of thing. Campro's got some of those TMJs, and there's some other ones out there. I like for pistol ammo. Again, for me, I'm quite happy with those. The X Metal ones, that's a new bullet to Canada. I haven't had my chance to shoot them, but I believe Trevor has and won the provincials there, so they can't be that bad, right?
No, not at all.
And the price is definitely right. I'm waiting for them to be carried locally here in Edmonton before I pick some up. But I definitely will be picking some up as soon as I find where I can buy them. So that's the difference on them. The X Metal's got a plastic coating instead of a copper coating like some of the TMJs or the FMJs. So I think they're a bit more inexpensive to make, and that's why you're seeing that price just a little bit lower. So. Yeah. I'll buy some as soon as they come out here because I don't much care what it's coated with. I just don't want to run like straight up lead or lead with that Alox stuff on it. Boy, that stuff gets messy. It's cheap. It's real cheap, but it's really messy. It's grimy. It gets on your fingers. It gets in the reloading dice too, and then you got to clean them every once in a while. I don't really like doing that. I like I only spent about 2.5 hours to crank out those 1,000 rounds on a Dillon press, and I don't want to have to clean things and all that. I just want to pump out 1,000 rounds and be done with it, because otherwise you might as well just buy it and not reload, right? Like I went all over the place there, but
that's all right. I think you answered his question. I think you got it.
I think you did. Yeah. All right. So this one's from Doug. It says, "Good morning, folks." Isn't it evening?
Good evening, Doug.
Yes. Good evening, Doug. I have been looking at different firearm legal defense insurance offers. There is one out there that's offered by the CCFR that you can buy with your membership, and there is one that was on the news at the website firearmlegaldefense.com. I noticed that both offer $500,000 a year coverage, but the one for CCFR offers $100,000 per occurrence, while the firearm legal defense offers $150,000 per occurrence. As it's time for me to renew my CCFR membership later this month, I've been planning to add insurance at this time. But after finding out about the other company, I was hoping for some wise advice on the difference, if there is any, other than what I included. As always, love the show. You got 5-star review a long time ago, but I'll definitely give you another 2 thumbs up, Doug.
Awesome.
So I did a little asking, and that we don't know what the difference is between the two, the CCFRs and the Firearm Legal Defense Fund. Yeah, there is a breakdown. The CCFR can give you a little bit more info. If you go to info@firearmrights.ca, they'll give you actually exactly what the quote is, or also what the breakdown is, they said. It should be on the website as well, but if you do need a little bit more information there, Doug, they said that they can send you some of that. Not sure what the Firearm Legal Defense breakdown is. Maybe they have it on their website. I know that's the one that Ian Thompson gave a... well, that's the one that he supports. So I know that he gave a little bit of information on their website as well. I don't know. Do you guys know any information about the Firearm Legal self-defense?
Not any more than what you just said, no.
Yeah.
Nothing here.
Not really. So, yeah.
All I know is it's good to have, is all I know. It's good to have some sort of coverage to, I mean, it's just nice to have some liability coverage whenever you're dealing with stuff like this. You just never know when something could happen, so get something. I don't know if it really matters where you get it from, but get something.
Right. Most of the advocacy groups or most of the places have insurance. Anyways, yeah. So, Adriel.
Haha, you win, Adriel. You win.
I saw it coming. From Oramas. Hey guys, hey Kelly. This is my very, very late response to Trevor, who was reading my iTunes review on episode 161, and he mentioned that he'd like me to write in about firearms laws and such in Lithuania. Sorry for the delay. I happened to be listening to your episodes in a fairly random order, and that particular episode has eluded me until now. Shameful, I know. Anyway, here goes a brief, not really, description of all things firearms in Lithuania. Actually, it's rather obnoxiously long, so free to cut out whatever you see fit. Right off the bat, I'm not a hunter, so I'll not be able to tell you much about that aspect, sorry. In general, to get any sort of firearm, first you have to undergo a medical examination, eyesight, hearing, coordination, psychiatric evaluation. I guess that takes me out of the running here.
Wow, that is crazy. You gotta have good eyesight and hearing? What if you don't have good hearing?
At least it's tested. Maybe you can have bad hearing, but, you know, if you're a complete wreck, then maybe not.
Well, you can't hear, so no earplugs for you. All right.
It's easier, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Then the police run a background check on you, which can take up to a month. Then you take a mandatory course and pass an exam on basic firearms operation, theory and practice, first aid, theory only, and legal aspects of firearms ownership and use. Well, that first aid thing's interesting. Lastly, you go buy a safe, fix it to the wall, get somebody from the police to come inspect it and sign off. Now you can go buy your firearms.
So their safes have to be actually attached to the wall. That's okay, cool.
And inspected, so it probably can't just be a total piece of garbage, right?
Right.
The amount of guns you can own is not limited, but the proper storage requirements have some tiers to it. If you own 5 or less, you need a safe attached to a proper wall. If more than 5, you also need an alarm system installed, which connects to some security company. Every 5 years, you have to have your health rechecked and your licenses renewed. You also need to take your rifled firearms to the forensic center, where they collect some spent casings and bullets for their forensic library. By the way, this forensic procedure is mandatory anytime you decide to buy or sell a rifled firearm from or to somebody.
Wow.
It gets better.
One peculiarity in Lithuania is the fact that by law, all short firearms, pistols and revolvers, can only be sold by the state-run weapons fund that has a complete monopoly in this sphere. So if you want to sell your pistol, you do it via the weapons fund, which is a pain for anyone not living in the capital city of Vilnius. The one good thing about this is that the fund has fairly decent prices, not just for a monopoly, but even when compared against neighboring countries with private companies. The not-so-good thing is the limited choice of firearms and the fact that they have a single store in the whole country. This does not apply to long guns, shotguns, and rifles, luckily. And that's almost like your beer stores in Ontario that are run by the government.
Yep.
You got your pistol store that's run by the government as well. They'd probably have terrible hours. Another peculiarity in European context, is that we actually have concealed carry in Lithuania, unlike many other EU countries. You do not need to have some specific reason to apply for it. For example, previously you had to prove you need it, but you can bet the psychiatrist is going to ask, so, what are you afraid of so much that you need a gun during the medical examination? Hollow points are prohibited for self-defense, but soft points are okay. We can reload ammo, which is great, but getting powder at a reasonable price, or at all, has become much harder after the unfortunate events in Paris. Something to do with the increased requirements for transport, import-export, and that kind of thing. So you'd think that whenever you can finally get your hands on some powder at a good price, you buy as much as you can, right? Nope. The law allows an individual to own up to 1 kilogram of powder, but you can own a virtually unlimited amount of ammunition so long as you store it properly. Bullet type and caliber selection is not great either. I own a Smith & Wesson Model 66-1 in 357 Magnum and a Ruger Super Blackhawk, the old model, in 44 Mag, and I can either buy factory ammo or import bullets from Estonia or Czech Republic for reloading. For my Glock 17, I can get bullets locally, thank goodness. Oh, and if you have a firearm registered for self-defense, you can only import 500 rounds at a time. You must also register it as a sporting firearm to lift this restriction, which means you have to become a member of a club. At this point, you should say, hey, you're only importing bullets, not live rounds. Surely this does not apply. To which my answer would be, yes, it does. You see, in here, an unfired case or bullet is considered to be a full round. There is no law on this, as far as I know, but if you ask the police, that's what they'll tell you. It's not a huge pain, but anytime you want to import some bullets, you must obtain and pay for license to import. Revolvers are not popular in Lithuania. Nobody competes with revolvers in IPSC, for example. Maybe they do in IDPA. I should check it out sometime. Replicas of old Western-style SA single-action revolvers are used by black powder enthusiasts. We have a few of those. Clay busting is alive and well. All in all, we have a fair amount of variety in gun hobbies, but the number of people involved is not large, even considering the population itself is only 2.9 million and shrinking. I'd say IPSC attracts the most people, including guests from abroad, some with much more restrictive firearms laws. So how does that all compare to Canada? Well, aside from I wrote already, we don't have magazine size restrictions or rifles prohibited because they look too much like an AK. It's got a smiley face on there. If it's not a full auto, you're good to go. That said, we also have a lot of other constraints and bureaucratic processes mentioned above, but also no suppressors or full auto for civvies, no laser sights for self-defense guns, but it's okay for sport and members of certain paramilitaries. No night vision sights. Although the hunters are trying to lobby this through, it's a really divisive issue right now. No armor-piercing, incendiary, or tracer rounds. No bows or crossbows with more than, 1,200 newtons of string tension. What does that come out to? I don't know any of the Newton ones. No rifles or handguns of caliber 12.7 millimeter, 50 cal or larger. This is a pretty recent addition. No more Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum, kids. Not that I've encountered anything in this glorious 50 cal around here before. Okay, I guess that'll be it for now. If you're interested in something specific that I failed to mention, just let me know. Keep up the great show. Best regards from Lithuania, Oramas or STR Quark. Pick the one that induces the least strokes while attempting to pronounce it. P.S. The STR was supposed to stand for strange, as in strange quark, but the Star Quark version sure made me laugh. Thanks. P.P.S. I'm almost tempted to add the obligatory good night, Kelly, Trevor, Matthew, Adriel, but I have no idea what that even means. I must have completely missed out on an important episode that keeps getting referenced. No, it's just creepy, so we think it's funny. So
yeah, that's just our humor.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting.
That was quite an email. It was long, but very informative, fun to listen to. You did a good job, and I only regret you not doing a Lithuanian accent as you read it.
I don't even know what a Lithuanian accent would be like.
I don't know either. I have this like sort of cross between German and Russian kind of feeling, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So you'll have to send us in a sound clip.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to own sound clips, though? Or are they sound magazines? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
It sounds, it sounds like they can at least own them, but yeah, some of those are weird, like buying from the government and that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't matter what country you go to. It seems like every country has some sort of messed up gun laws. I mean, we've got it good in some places and terrible in others. The U.S. has it good in some and terrible in others. Lithuania has it good in some and terrible in others. So it doesn't really matter. Every country's got some messed up gun laws. That's what I'm sort of learning.
Yeah, well, it's a tough thing to legislate, and I think a lot of countries try it in a lot of different ways and mess it up in different ways.
They fail every single time.
Yeah.
Okay, what about from Justin? Do you want to read this one, Matthew?
Sure, from Justin. I was in Walmart and I saw a safe with this sticker. I was wondering why it would not be suitable even though it has a lock and is opaque. is it just a company not wanting their products to be gun certified? And it's a picture of a gun or a safe with warning: this product is not intended for the secure storage of firearms. So I would say that, yeah, it's probably just a sticker that covers their butt. It's like a CYA sticker for liability purposes. But according to the criminal code, or according to whoever you ask here, as long as the container that you're locking it in is metal and locks, it's a safe. So it doesn't matter what the manufacturer says it is. If it's metal and it locks, it's a safe. So good to go.
Here we go.
Yep. Exactly. So that's it for listener feedback. If you would like to send us an email, you can send it to slamfireradio@gmail.com. And yeah, you can send it even if you don't live in Lithuania. Maybe Canada.
If you want. Whatever.
The U.S., California, wherever. Anyways.
The U.S., California, because they're different, right?
Well, they are in regards to gun laws.
You're right about that.
All right. Anyways, iTunes, we don't have any. We're looking for those as well. Again, if you live in Canada, U.S., Australia, Lithuania, Belgium, we've heard from you. So maybe another country or two? What do you think?
Not to say that we don't want to hear from those countries again, but
true.
we do want to hear from other countries because it's cool. We like to see how far we go.
Right. So iTunes, send us some. And 5-star ratings, too. All right. Shoutouts. Who's got some shoutouts? Anybody?
Nope.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Just a shout out to Matthew and Trevor for bringing me on the show. This is my 1-year anniversary being on Slamfire.
It's been a year already?
Really?
Yeah, I was just remembering. I was like, I think it was October, and I just checked back.
Holy cow.
And yeah, I think October 5th is when I put it out on Hunting Gear Guys, so it must have been somewhere around there.
Time flies, man. It does not feel like it's been a year.
I would have baked you a cake.
I would not have baked you a cake, but I would have eaten some of the cake that Kelly made.
Is it gluten-free?
I don't care. I'm not gluten insensitive.
I'm not allowed... Anyways. I'm not allowed gluten, so...
I like gluten. I don't discriminate against any of the... I don't even know what a gluten is.
Congratulations on 1 year, Adriel.
Yeah. You're 1 year old now.
And you're not the new guy.
Yeah, you're not the new guy anymore.
There we go.
All right. And I have one. It's to Sean, and I just wanted to say welcome back. Thanks for listening. That's it.
All right.
All right. Moving on. Patreon supporters. Dalton H. Thanks for coming on board. 226 is what his caliber is. So,
nice.
Yeah. And not so...
That's not caliber. That's not a caliber. Come on. What's 226? It's a SIG. He must be a SIG shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I think that's the first time we've had a
gun number
model.
Yeah. So 1022 would be a good one. 795, not a bad one either.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there's other creative ways to put in your donation if you want to support us. And we love all of our Patreon supporters. In fact, we've put out our first Patreon special content. And it was a really fun... It wasn't very long. It was only, 5-10 minutes, I think.
Yep.
But we had a blast recording it. It's a video, and so you guys the Patreon supporters got to see the four of us all on camera, just kind of goofing off and talking about a new gun. So, yeah.
Wait, was Trevor there?
No.
Wasn't? Oh, Trevor wasn't there?
No.
Oh, well, it felt like he was
there.
there because it was chaotic and noisy, so I just figured he was there. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. So if you want to get that special content, you know what to do. Just become a Patreon supporter, and you'll get that special content too.
Yeah, we have some great people that have come on board already.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, all of our listeners are amazing. They're all great. Whether they are able to support us or not, I don't care. I love them all, but I do love the Patreon supporters just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
No, thanks for doing that. And we do have some more content coming up really soon, don't we?
Yeah, we were supposed to do something. Was it tonight?
No.
It's next week.
Monday.
Oh, it's next week. All right.
It's supposed to be Monday.
Oh, well, we'll see if that happens.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, just reach out, go to our website, click on the Patreon supporter link there that Adriel has put into the website. And yeah, come on board. Help us out. It's going towards, the fees for hosting the page and all that too. So thanks everybody who's already done that. So yeah. And so just if you, we just asking people to go and join one of our national firearms associations, such as the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights or the CSSA. It's really important for you guys to get out there and join one of our advocacy groups because they really do support us and they'll represent us as well. And it's good to have a voice. So also check us out on Gunners Canada. We are on there. There's going to be the shows and you can chat with us as well. So check us out there. And on Facebook, we're at 1,535 likes as of today. Woohoo!
Yay!
So, yay! And Adriel, did you put those thumbs ups that we got in our feedback today?
Well, it says updated October 6th, so I assume someone put them in there.
Okay.
No?
So we have 112 thumbs ups, 20 gold stars, and we're still counting on those, by the way. 2 flukes. Somebody asked me, what are flukes? Somebody on the weekend.
And you don't know?
No,
Well, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you.
I told him. He actually is a listener, and he goes, okay, what the heck's a fluke? And I said, well, Spencer the whale sent it to us, and those are whale flukes. Those are the tail flippers. So he goes, oh, okay. Anyways, so we have 2 flukes, 4 manatee flippers, 2 kangaroo thumbs, 1 safe space, 1 HK logo, 2 hobbit thumbs, 5 duck bills, and 2 squirrel nuts, and a partridge in a pear tree.
We don't have a partridge in a pear tree yet.
We don't want one.
We'll take one at Christmas. But
Putting it out there.
We don't want one? I want one at Christmas. All right. And anything else you guys want to... any words of wisdom, Matthew?
Never listen to Slamfire Radio unless you have eaten enough bacon to last you the entire 2 hours.
Okay. Adriel, what about you? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. You spoke to me and I...
Add a nice half glass of whiskey of your choice.
Right.
Not scotch, though. Scotch doesn't go well with bacon. Just whiskey.
Everything goes well with bacon.
All right.
I'm just hoping to cheese off some scotch drinkers. That's all.
There you go. I'm sure you got Trevor.
And I just wanted to say, Trevor, I hope you're feeling better. And on that note, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.